Welcome. This is our fourth week of our virtual low vision fair. So the virtual low vision fairs come to you from the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired. Our mission is to promote the dignity and empowerment of the people of Wisconsin who are blind or visually impaired through legislative advocacy, vision services, and education. Our speakers today are Jim Denham, who is the Access Technology Specialist here at the Council, and me. I'm Jean Kelcher, and I am a vision rehab teacher here at the Council. Today we're going to be talking about computer software that you can use for magnification, and the same and similar software that you can use for screen reading. So they're just ways to make your computer do things for you in a slightly different way. And so one of the first questions that often comes up is, doesn't my computer's operating system already have the ability to magnify? It's already in the operating system and it's free. And that is indeed true. Your PC or your Mac computer or your tablets do have magnification built into the operating system. And so then why look for something different? Well, the software program, especially the one that we're going to be talking about today, which is ZoomText, is much more stable than your magnification software in the operating system. So for example, as you make things bigger with just the magnifier in your PC operating system, the pixels start getting pulled apart and the color becomes less intense, so you have less contrast. And so one of the things that the magnification software does is that it fills in those jagged edges and it maintains the contrast of the text to the background. Another thing about stability is that the magnification software gives you ways that you can keep things within the width of your computer monitor so that you're not swimming all over the place trying to find things in a big picture. Magnification software is also very flexible in that it gives you many options for magnification level, color changes, inverted text, and mouse potential. The software works with just about anything that's going to be running on your computer. And sometimes that's not the case when we're talking about the operating system magnifier that you have. So there is value in having add-on screen magnification software, particularly if you're doing a lot of work on your computer. So the software that I'm going to start talking about is ZoomText. And ZoomText is made by a company called AI Squared, and AI Squared is a company that works with Freedom Scientific, and it's under the umbrella of Vispero. And I'm going to start by showing you an image of the toolbar. Unfortunately, in Zoom, I can't make the toolbar work that you can see. It's working on my computer, but that image, as I change the size or the color of things, is not showing up. But I'm going to show you the toolbar, and then we're going to look at some videos that are made by the ZoomText people to look at the different magnification levels, how it can create favorite zoom levels, so you're not going through a lot of different magnification levels, and then also the variability in the zoom window that you can have. Up now, you should be able to see the ZoomText toolbar. And so the ZoomText toolbar, when ZoomText is on, is always available. It usually is going to be sitting down on your taskbar, but you can bring it up at any time to make any changes. And so one of the things that you'll notice right away across the tabs on the top is that it says magnifier, reader, and tools, so that there's a toolbar to make changes with magnification options, with reader options, and then some other tools. The first area to look at is on the left-hand side you can see that you can easily change zoom level by just clicking up and down in this box. And so you can go very, very big. It goes up to 64, 62, 64 power. Have to have a very big monitor in order to do that. And so as I'm clicking it, I can see on my computer that it's changing those. But I know on yours, you can see the numbers changing, but you don't see any size changes. So you can change the zoom level here. You can change how it appears, whether or not you're full screen or a lens. And all of these things we're going to go through and talk about a little bit more specifically. You can change the color. You can change how the pointer looks. So right now I have the giant green pointer, it's called, which is one of the favorites of my clients who use this program. And so anytime I sit down at a computer and see this giant green arrow, I know that they're using Zoom Text because it's very easy to see and it's nice and big. So it also has a reader on it, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the reader. And right now I have the reader disabled, but you have a rate option for how fast or how slow it's going to speak. You can have it tell you what keys you're typing so that it's going to echo. You can have the mouse hover over something and it will read it to you. And then it has a thing called the app reader, and that's different ways that this software can read items that are on your screen. The videos that I'm going to start with are ones around magnification. Okay, so this first one is going to look at just how you increase and decrease magnification in Zoom.
Increase and decrease magnification in Zoom Text. Zoom Text has a full range of magnification levels all the way up to 60 times. You can zoom in and out at any time using the following. The zoom level spin box on the magnifier tool tab. I'll grab the mouse and click that spin control up. 1.4, zoom 1.6, 1.8, 2, 2.25, 2, 1.8, and back down again. 1.6, 1.4.
To zoom in, I can use caps lock up arrow.
1.4, 1.6, 1.8.
To zoom out, I can use caps lock down arrow.
1.6, 1.4, 1.2.
If I want to use mouse wheel scrolling, I can press caps lock plus the shift key and roll the mouse up or down.
1.4, 1.6, 1.4, 1.2.
I'm going to increase the magnification to about 3 or 4 times. I'm going to press caps lock up arrow.
1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 2, 2.2, 2.5, 2.7, 3.5, 4.
Sometimes I really need to increase the magnification to make out some fine text or graphics, but at other times I want to be able to see the whole screen and just get an idea of what's going on. This is where a great feature called Zoom to 1x comes in. This is a toggle command, and it's another one of my favorites. The keyboard command to zoom to 1x is caps lock enter.
1.
This lets you instantly switch between the magnified and 1 times view without having to zoom out and zoom back in one zoom level at a time. When you zoom to 1x, all the other Zoom Text features remain active, so you can still see mouse enhancements, color enhancements, and other features even while the screen is unmagnified. To switch back, I'll press the keystroke again, caps lock enter.
4.
I'm going to press caps lock down arrow to switch back to a lower magnification level.
3.53, 2.7, 2.5, 2.22, 1.8, 1.6.
I'm going to switch back to the Zoom Text user interface by pressing caps lock Control U.
Windows Zoom Text Magnifier Reader. Zoom Windows Group Box Zoom Level 1.6.
Very easy to do to make it bigger, smaller. And then they talked about that feature where you can quickly go into, if you have it magnified, that you can quickly send it back to just 1. so that there's no magnification to make it easier for you to kind of get a full screen view of things before you magnify out again. The next one that we're going to look at is looking at different zoom levels and how that can be helpful to you.
Suppose that you only use zoom levels 2, 4, 6, and 8. To zoom between those levels, you still must cycle through the levels that are in between. So for example, to zoom between 2 and 4x, we first go to 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, and so on until we get to 4x. And that's about 6 commands we perform to get between those two zoom levels. With favorite zoom levels, we can configure zoom text to only use the zoom levels that we prefer. This will allow us to zoom in and out between our favorite zoom levels using fewer commands. So the way we're going to configure this is we're going to click the Zoom Windows button, which is in the bottom right corner of the Zoom Windows group under the magnifier tab. So we can click that button, or we can press Alt, then M as in Mike, then Z as in Zulu. So under the magnification tab, we're going to expand the combo box that's under Use These Zoom Levels, and we're going to select Favorite Zoom Levels Only. Then we're going to go to the Favorite Zoom Levels list box and check the magnification levels that we want zoom text to use. So 2's already checked. I'm going to check 4, 6, and 8. And then I'll click OK. So now that we've set that, when we increase or decrease magnification, zoom text is only going to use those levels that we just configured. So for example, if I zoom in, it's going to go 2 to 4 to 6 to 8. And if I decrease magnification, it's going to go 8 to 6 to 4 to 2.
So the nice feature that they were talking about there was just that ability to set where it's zooming to, so that you don't have to click through all of the different zoom levels to get from one to the next. Okay, this next video is going to show the different windows that are available in zoom text.
Zoom windows in zoom text. Whether your system is running with one monitor or with two monitors set to duplicate these displays, you can set the magnified view to any of the following zoom window types: full, overlay, lens, line, and docked either at the top, bottom, left, or right. There are 3 different ways to select a zoom window. The first way would be to use the magnifier toolbar window button. I'll switch to the zoom text user interface by pressing caps lock Control U.
Windows Zoom Text Magnifier Reader. Zoom Windows Group Box Zoom Level 1.2 Spin Box.
On the magnifier toolbar tab, select the window button.
Window button.
Select one monitor or multiple monitors according to your current monitor configuration, and then select the desired zoom window type.
One monitor. Full checked. Overlay. Window Zoom Window Overlay. Tooltip window, caps lock plus one monitor. Full. Zoom window full.
Another way to do this is to use the shortcut keystroke caps lock ZZ.
Zoom window overlay. Zoom window lens. 1 tooltip zoom level 1.1.2 2.25. Zoom window line. Zoom window dot bottom. Tooltip zoom window dot top. Zoom window dot right. Zoom window dot left. Tooltip zoom level zoom in zoom window full.
Those videos just showed you different ways that magnification works in zoom text, so that you get a lot of options for being able to set up the amount of magnification, how it's going to magnify, and the zoom window. One of the things you might have noticed in all of these videos is that there were a lot of keystrokes that were being used in order to move through these different things. So rather than having to always bring up that toolbar, you can learn the keystrokes to make these changes without having to always be mouse dependent. And that can sometimes really speed up productivity rather than trying to actually see something is implemented with keystrokes, particularly by changing the size of magnification. So if you come upon something that's really small, you can quickly make it big without having to bring up the toolbar, find the spinner box so that you can make it bigger. You can just use the keyboard commands. Zoom text also has lots of different enhancements that you can do. The color enhancements will change how the screen looks. So it can do the invert, but it can also do a lot of nice ones in between. And then the pointer enhancements. This first one is about the different color enhancements.
Color enhancements improve the clarity of text and graphics, providing easier viewing and reduced eye strain. The color enhancement options consist of a variety of filter effects that adjust color, contrast, and brightness. You can choose from preset color schemes, or you can create your own custom color settings. The color enhancement options are enabled and set using the color split button control located on the magnifier toolbar tab. To toggle the color enhancements on and off, do one of the following. On the magnifier toolbar tab, select the color button.
Color enhancements enabled. Color enhancements disabled.
Or press the color enhancement toggle keystroke, caps lock C.
Color button. Color button.
To choose a preset color scheme, on the magnifier toolbar tab, click the arrow next to color, and in the color menu, choose Scheme submenu.
Normal checked. Scheme. 1. Invert brightness.
In the Scheme submenu, choose the desired color scheme.
2. Invert colors. 3. Yellow on black. 4. Blue dye. 5. Black and white. Color button. Color button. Normal. Scheme checked. 1. Invert 6. White and black. Color button. Normal.
To create a custom color scheme, on the magnifier toolbar tab, click the arrow next to color.
Normal.
In the color menu, choose Settings.
Scheme checked. Custom. Settings. Color button. Dialog box screen enhancement settings. Scheme. Radio button.
The Screen Enhancements Settings dialog box opens with the Color tab displayed. Choose Custom. I'll press down arrow.
Custom. Radio button.
I'll press Tab to move through some of the controls here, and we'll explore them as we go.
Custom settings group box. Apply color enhancements to combo box zoom window and background.
We'll leave this set as it is right now. To apply the enhancements to the window and the background,
Brightness track bar 50%.
here you can adjust brightness,
Tab Restore normal settings button.
restore normal settings,
Tab Contrast track bar 50%.
change contrast, and we may come back to those in just a minute.
Tab Effect combo box none.
Here's the one I want to look at. I'll press Alt down arrow to open up a list of choices here.
None list item.
And I'll press down arrow to move through them.
Invert brightness list item.
Invert brightness actually inverts the brightness of all screen colors. Light colors become dark, and dark colors become lighter.
Invert colors list item.
Invert colors inverts all colors on the screen.
Dyed list item.
Dyed transforms all screen colors to a single hue while preserving their light and dark values. When the dye effect is selected, a color combo box appears allowing you to select the dye color from, I'll press the Tab key,
Tab Custom Settings Group Box Color
and I'll press Alt down arrow to open this list box.
Light Blue List Item.
Here you have the ability to change from light red to yellow, green, cyan, light blue, light magenta, or custom/more colors. I'll press Shift Tab to go back to the Effect combo box.
Tab Custom Settings Group Box Effect Combo Box Dyed.
I'll press Alt down arrow to open the list again.
Dyed List Item.
The next one down is 2-Color.
2-Color List Item.
2-Color transforms all screen colors to a 2-color spectrum. When the 2-Color effect is selected, you have a choice between foreground color and background color combo boxes.
Tab Custom Settings Group Box Foreground Color Combo Box Black. Tab Background Color Combo Box White.
I'll press Shift Tab to go back to the Effect combo box.
Tab Tab Effect Combo Box 2-Color.
And I'll press Alt down arrow to open the list again.
2-Color List Item.
The next one in the list is Replace Color.
Replace Color List Item.
This allows you to replace one screen color with another. So for example, if red to me is a really bad glare color and it hurts my eyes, I can choose to have the color red replaced with a completely different color anytime it appears on my screen. Here you have 2 combo boxes off to the side, one for Replace Color and the other for the color to replace it with.
That showed just a lot of the options that you have with color enhancement, a lot more than what you have on the options on your PC, the operating system options. And so one of these that I think is really nice is this last one about replacing color, because a lot of people will say that on web pages it's real popular to have sort of a grayish color text that's really hard for people to read if they have low vision. There's not enough contrast. And so you could ask it to replace that color with just a black color, and that would occur on any web page that you're on. There's much more to the color enhancement than just switching from a white background with black text to a black background with white text. But there's a lot of in between that you can do just to make the computer easier for you to see. There's a number of pointer enhancements that are available, and that's to help make the pointer just much more visible for you. And the next 3 things that I want to say a few words about, or let the video say a few words about, are some of the talking features that are on Zoom Text with Reader. And the first one is the mouse echo. And so what that is whatever your mouse is hovering over, it can speak it.
Mouse echo in Zoom Text. Mouse echo automatically reads text that you point to. Single words or complete lines of text are spoken instantly or after hovering briefly. Mouse echo controls are located on the Reader Toolbar tab in the Zoom Text user interface. There you'll find buttons for enabling and adjusting all Zoom Text Reader features. Many of these buttons are split button controls that allow you to toggle the feature on or off and open a menu of related settings. Let's switch to the Reader Toolbar tab of the Zoom Text user interface. I'll press Control Tab.
Voice Group Box Voice button.
To cycle the mouse echo mode, which is a toggle command, do one of the following. On the Reader Toolbar tab, click the mouse button. I'll do that now.
Mouse echo set to hover mode. Mouse echo disabled.
Or press the Echo Mouse Mode hotkey, Caps Lock Alt M.
Mouse echo set to instant mode. Mouse echo set to hover mode.
To adjust the mouse echo settings, on the Reader Toolbar tab, click the arrow next to the mouse or navigate to the mouse and press the down arrow key.
No echo.
The choices available for mouse echo include No Echo, which disables all mouse echo,
Instant.
When instant echo is checked, words are spoken immediately when the mouse pointer is moved over them.
Hover checked.
Hover time is the amount of time in seconds that the mouse pointer must hover over an object before it's spoken. Let's look at the mouse echo settings. I'll choose Settings in the menu.
Settings. Dialog box Echo Settings. Mouse Echo Group Box Hover Echo Radio button.
On my computer at the moment, I have Hover Echo set, and when I press the Tab key,
0.5 spin box.
we have a spin box for the hover time, and it's set to 0.5 or half second in my case. So if I wanted to move the mouse around more without having it interrupt me to give me more time to move around, I could increase the hover time so that it wouldn't fire off as often. Or I could change it if I shift Tab back.
Tab Hover Echo
to Instant
Echo Radio button.
or None. I'm going to leave it on Hover for now.
Hover Echo Radio button.
And I'll press Tab twice to move to the When the mouse passes over a word.
Tab 0.5 spin box. When the mouse passes over a word, Group Box Echo all words in the line or object radio button.
And here it's pretty simple. Right now it's set to echo all the words in the line or the object, and I'm just going to press up arrow.
Echo the word only radio button.
So here I could choose just to echo the current word.
If you're in Word, for example, and you're typing away, you have that magnified, but some items on the toolbar are just a little difficult for you to see at the level of magnification. You can just hover over those with your mouse, and it'll read whatever is in the toolbar or in the ribbons. Now, the last video that I'm going to show you is about the app reader. And this one, I like the app reader a lot because it gives ways that your text can be read to you.
App Reader in Zoom Text. App Reader is a productivity tool that automatically reads documents, web pages, and email while you visually follow along or relax your eyes and listen. App Reader can automatically read the text from beginning to end, skim forwards and backwards through the text, or read specific areas of text that you select by clicking and dragging with the mouse. App Reader provides 3 unique reading modes. App View reads right in the source application. Your view of the application and document is not changed, so entering and exiting App Reader is seamless and smooth. App View is ideal for users that want a reading experience that is seamless to the application or do not require the text enhancement features provided by Text View. Text View reads in a special environment where text is reformatted for easier reading. Text is presented in one of 2 views: Prompter View, which has multiple wrapped lines of text, or Ticker View, a single line of text that scrolls horizontally. In both views, you can select your choice of fonts, high contrast colors, word highlighting, and magnification level. Text View is great for users who want to visually read and desire an enhanced visual reading environment. The third method is using the Speak It tool. The Speak It tool reads selected areas of the screen by clicking and dragging with the mouse. Any text that's visible on the screen can be spoken even if it's outside the active program. Speak It tool is ideal for spot reading random blocks of text with simple mouse actions. To switch from Text View back to App View, just press the Tab key. Notice the icon next to the mouse pointer here that shows that App View is currently active.
That one showed you just different ways that your computer can read things to you. And the App Reader, it would just, you can put a bouncing box so that you can follow the reading on any web page. The Text View I like because it can pull it in so it's no wider than your monitor. And then you can adjust the color on that too to make it easier to read while it's reading out loud. There's another one called Background Reader. And the Background Reader allows something to be read in the background while you're working on something else. Zoom Text gives many features. It's very flexible for different things that it can do for someone who has low vision. It works with Windows 7, 8.1 or Windows 10. And you do need 1.3 gigabytes available of open space on your hard drive. Cost for Zoom Text, without the reader, it's $625 for a perpetual license, it's called. With the reader, it's $700 for a perpetual license. Perpetual license means that you pay outright. You don't have any right to upgrades. It's yours. Or you can pay on an annual basis. And so the magnifier with reader is $85 per year. And with that cost, you then get upgrades. Okay. So Zoom Text is not the only magnification software that's out there. There are some other ones. Zoom Text is very good, very tried and true. Some of the other ones are called iZoom, Supernova, and the Magnifier. So if a magnification software is something that you would consider, some of the things that you might want to think about is the compatibility of that software with the operating system that you use and any other technology that you have hooked into your computer. You also want to think about its usability. Is there a steep learning curve, or is it pretty user-friendly, easy to figure out, easy to adjust the settings? You also want to make sure that the visual features that it has available match your needs in terms of magnification, color enhancements, pointer enhancements. If it has speech output, to make sure that you can hear and understand the voices. And then most importantly is, how are you going to learn to use this software? And Jim's going to talk a little bit more about what's available in terms of human support, but it's also good to pay attention to how much the company will support learning through either tutorials, trial periods of demos. Before I turn it over to Jim, just want to check in and see if there were any questions on the magnification piece.
Jean?
Yes.
I joined a little late. I was trying to get in through the wrong way, I guess. This is Bob Holloway. And am I correct in understanding, I'm hearing references to Windows. So this would not be well suited to an iOS environment?
Correct.
Okay.
This is a Windows software. Okay, any other questions? So I'm going to turn it over to Jim, who's going to talk about using much more of the speech aspects to support your use of a computer than just magnifying things with a little bit of speech support. Okay, Jim?
Great. Thank you very much, Jean. Appreciate it. And thanks all of you for taking the time to attend today. As Jean mentioned, you know, we're giving you a lot of information today, showing you a lot of features, and I'm going to be showing some other features related to screen reading. There are ways of getting training, individualized training on these products. Both the Council here in Madison and Vision Forward in Milwaukee offer one-on-one technology training. There are other places around that offer one-on-one technology training. So if you say at the end of this presentation, this is something you're interested in learning more about, but you really want somebody to sit down with you one-on-one to kind of go through some of this stuff and maybe help you with your particular computer or your particular piece of software that you're using, just be aware that there is individualized training. It is a fee-based training system. We can provide training either in person, at the Council, or remotely. We've done some remote training as well, and we can actually connect your computer and provide some training remotely as well. So I'm going to be talking about screen reading and kind of a combination of screen magnification and screen reading. So Jean was talking about, you know, when you showing Zoom Text, you heard Zoom Text reading some information in the background and doing, you know, she talked about the app reader and the background reader and some other different reading tools. And that works for some people. Sometimes that works and that gives them what you need. Sometimes though, you need a little bit more reading. Sometimes you need a little bit more than just, you know, relying on the mouse to highlight text and have it read out loud, or using keyboard commands to highlight text. Sometimes you don't quite know what text needs to be highlighted, or you don't know the status of a control. And Zoom text doesn't always tell you if this is a checkbox or a radio button, or, it's really important to do some of these different things. So there are different options that allow you to get more screen reading when using these products. Jean was talking about Zoom text. Freedom Scientific also offers another product which is called JAWS, and nothing to do with the movie, but it stands for Job Access with Speech, and that is a complete screen reading package. So that's for someone like myself that has no usual vision, who needs screen reading exclusively. They also offer something called Fusion, or Zoom Text Fusion as it's sometimes called. And what Fusion is, it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a combination of Zoom text, so the screen magnification, all the features you just saw with the screen magnification, and also the screen reading features of JAWS. So when you install Zoom Text Fusion, you actually get 3 different icons on your desktop. You get the Zoom Text icon, which is what the JAWS machine was just showing you. You get the ability to run just JAWS. If you just want screen reading, you can do that. Or you get Fusion, which Fusion, like I'll be showing you Fusion here in a little bit, and it's going to offer the magnification, it's going to offer the speech, and it's full speech. So you get much more speech than you're going to get with just Zoom text. So it's going to be reading a lot more, but you also have this, you have the ability to increase magnification, you have the ability to change the colors, change the pointer enhancement. All those things Jean was just showing you are available in Fusion as well. So what we're showing you today is Zoom Text Fusion. And I'll show you some of the different screen reading functions that are in Fusion. So like I say, these are in Fusion, but they're also available in JAWS as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick here.
New list view, recycle bin, 1 of 36, meeting controls.
Okay, so right now you're hearing
Windows D.
Reading the different desktop icons as I'm moving over these desktop icons. Now, something else I'll say, when I'm using screen reading, I'm using exclusively the keyboard. I'm not touching the mouse at all. And this may be something, Jean mentioned this earlier, when you're doing things with the mouse, trying to find that mouse pointer, trying to, navigate around can be really difficult. And the nice part about Windows is anything you can do with the mouse, you can also do with keyboard commands. So I'm going to be using exclusively keyboard commands here to navigate and move around. So I'm not worried about the mouse pointer, where that mouse pointer is at, or clicking on anything. I'm just using keyboard commands to do something. Using the down arrow to move to the desktop icons here.
FS Reader 3.0, 4 of 36. Google Chrome, 5 of 36.
Okay, and you're saying that voice sounds really robotic. And that is the default voice that comes with Fusion and JAWS. And it's known as Eloquence. And it's the voice that's been here for a long time. Those of us who use screen reading really like this voice because you can speed it up. So I'm using it fairly slow right now.
Fun with type abilities.
So you can understand it. If I were using this for my normal work, I would speed it up.
Faster. Google Chrome, 5 of 36. FS Reader 3.0, 4 of 36.
That's about the speed I would normally use it. Now.
Slower. Google Chrome, 5 of slow. Fun with type.
So you'd say that sounds really fast. But think about, if a person is reading a document, they're not reading every single character of that document. They're kind of glancing at each word and kind of recognizing that word as to what it is, and then kind of moving on. And it's the same when I use speech. I'm hearing a word and kind of knowing what that is. I don't hear every single syllable of that word. I kind of know what that word is just by kind of hearing it. So I can use speech a lot quicker and get that information a lot quicker. So in addition to this voice, we also have other voices that are called vocalizer voices that come free when you get Zoom Text, when you get Fusion. And you can download these voices. They don't come pre-installed, but you can download these voices. There are several male and female voices. So if you have a hard time hearing a male voice, for example, you can use one of the female voices. There's also voices for different dialects. So you've got a British voice, you've got an Australian voice, so other different voices that have different accents. We're going to stick to some of the American voices today. So I'll go ahead and switch to one of the female voices called Zoe. And all the voices have names, which kind of helps you distinguish them a little bit.
Select a voice profile and Zoe.
Okay, so we'll get Zoe talking here.
Title is Desktop 1.
Okay, so you're hearing that's the Zoe speech. Okay, so as I move around, Zoe's speaking and kind of reading the different items as I'm moving to them. So I'm just navigating the desktop here, but this can be used to read all sorts of different items. You can use this to read web pages. You can use this to read email. You can use this to read documents. You can use this to navigate, lots of different things. I use this on Amazon to make purchases, spreadsheets, if you're using spreadsheets.
Meeting control. Titanic.docs dash compatibility mode dash word.
Okay.
Titanic.docs.
So I'm in a Microsoft Word document here. I can read through this line by line just by pushing the down arrow key.
Blank. On April 10th, 1912, the Titanic, largest ship afloat, left Southampton, England on her maiden voyage to New York City. The White Star Line had spared no expense in assuring her luxury, a legend even before she sailed.
But notice what you also heard there. If I up arrow here,
Blank.
you heard the word blank. Now, why is that important? Well, maybe this is a document that you're trying to format properly, and you want to make sure it looks good. And adding some blank space, adding some white lines and some white space to this document, maybe kind of helps it format a little bit. So you actually want to know that there's a blank line there. So when you're using some of the screen reading, it can actually tells you blank, and that's some people just skip right over that. But if you're formatting this, you want it to look right. You can actually tell that, hey, this document has proper formatting, and you can read through it and do some other different things. So I can either read through this document line by line, but keep pushing the down arrow key, or I can push a command to say read to end. And that command is just going to be insert plus down arrow. So a lot of the screen reading commands use the insert key, or you can also use the caps lock key, but like the insert key. So the insert key in your keyboard, the little key that says INS. And I'm going to hold that key down, just push the down arrow key.
On April 10th, 1912, the Titanic, largest ship afloat, left Southampton, England on her maiden voyage to New York City. The White Star Line had spared no expense in assuring her luxury, a legend even before she sailed. Her passengers.
And I pushed the control key there, and it stopped it reading right where I pushed the control key. And it stopped right in the word passengers. Now, if I want to review that word by word, I can hold down the control key and push the right and left arrow keys.
Were a mixture of the world's wealthiest.
Okay, and maybe I still want to see wealthiest is spelled. I can push the right arrow key.
E-W-E-A-L-T-H-I-E-S-T.
Okay, so I can see how that word is spelled. And you heard tango. You heard a T, and then it said tango. So it's telling me those are giving the phonetic letters. So you can not only hear, is this the T? Sometimes you can hear if it's a D or a T or a B, or some of the letters that sound a little bit confusing. You can easily tell what letter that is. So you make sure you spell it correctly, and you also make sure that you're have the proper letters there. So you know what the letter is. So if you're in an email address, you want to make sure you get an email address correctly. You hear a B, you're not sure if it's a B or a D. If you hear Bravo, hey, this is a B. Or if you hear Delta, this is a D. So it gives you that alphanumeric characters. So this is an example of working in a document that has text in it. If we go to a blank document here, so I'm just going to hit Control N for a new document. I'm in Microsoft Word here.
Control N.
And we'll get a new document here.
Document 1-Word, web layout view, edit.
Okay, so I'm going to type in text here.
H-E-L-L-O, comma, space M, space A-M, space I-S, space J-I-M, period, space.
Well, notice it's echoing every character as I type it in. And that's a setting you can also easily change. So some people like to hear every character as they type it in. Some people like to hear every word as you type it in. So I'm going to change that setting real quick.
Words.
So now I'm going to hear every word as I type it in. So I type the word today, and I'm going to hit space.
Today.
Okay, so I don't hear anything as I'm typing the different characters. I only hear the word when I hit the space bar. So that's a matter of, that's a personal preference. Some people like typing fast. They only want to hear the words. Some people want to hear every character. You can also have characters and words, which gives you kind of both. Or you can set this to none. If you're typing in, you say, I'm really confident typing. I just want to speed through this. I don't want to hear anything as I type. You can easily change that to none as well. So you've got characters and words.
Both characters and words.
And I'm just doing insert 2 on the number row to change this.
None.
And I've got none.
Characters.
We'll put this back to characters so you hear every word I'm typing. So I'm typing in here, and let's say I make a typing mistake. Today
I-S space T-U-U-U-E-S-D-A-Y space.
Okay, you heard a little buzz there in the background. Kind of hard to hear, but if I go back over the word.
Misspelled Tuesday.
Okay, it said misspelled and it said Tuesday. I kind of tried to pronounce it that way with the 3 U's. So I can easily hear that that word is misspelled. So I'm getting that information. Visually, Word is pushing a little squiggly line below that word on the screen. So visually, if I could see the screen, I'd know that, but maybe I'm looking at this and my vision is low enough and I have a hard time seeing that squiggly line, or I'm just trying to do this auditorily and I don't know that squiggly line is there. So the screen reading is actually giving me that squiggly line, telling me that there's a problem with this word. And even if I just read the entire line.
Hello, my name is Jim. Today is misspelled Tuesday.
So today is misspelled Tuesday. So even if I'm reading through that line by line, I hear that word is misspelled. I can go back and correct it.
Is misspelled Tuesday.
I'm using my arrow keys here.
Misspelled you. U-E.
Okay.
U. Tuesday.
Okay, so now I fixed it.
Space T.
No.
U-T.
Okay, you're hearing that T a little uppercase.
Tango.
Little uppercase T. That indicates that that's a capital letter. So the screen reader is also going to give you the ability to determine whether letters are lowercase or uppercase just by hearing them. So again, really important information if you're, maybe you've been looking at the computer all day and your eyes are really tired and you need to compose that email to your boss, but you want to make sure you have that email composed properly. You want to make sure you're using capital letters. You want to make sure you're not misspelling things. And so you can do this all auditorily with either JAWS or Zoom Text Fusion. So I'm running like Fusion right now. I know you can't see the magnification, but I can push caps lock plus up arrow, which we were talking about earlier.
2.25.
And we're at 2.25 magnification. I know it's not showing on the screen right now, but on my screen, it's actually showing at 2.25 magnification. So like you say, you got the best of both worlds. You've got the magnification, you've also got the screen reading here as well. So somebody asked me to hear a male voice as well. So let's look at one of the male voices as well.
Select a voice. Vina Tom Vocalizer Expressive Premium.
So
13 of 50.
Go to Tom. Switch to Tom here.
Edit. Hello, my name is Jim. Today is Tuesday.
Okay, so we're going to hear the.
Hello and enter. Hello, blank.
Okay, so Tom is another choice that we get here. So like I say, there's lots of different voices. These voices are available free of charge. When you purchase the product, you can download these voices and get these installed on your computer. And that's something that we at the council can help you do if you want to get things set up and get things configured. Because that can be an intimidating part of getting the software is, getting the software, getting things configured, getting things set up just the way you want them, figuring out how to use all the features. That can be a real tricky thing. Something that the technology staff at either the council or Vision Forward in Milwaukee or a couple other different places can help you do. So sometimes it's really helpful just to have a couple hours of, just help you get things set up, installed, and configured, and learn some of the basic stuff. So, okay, so this is word processing. Let's look at how this works on the web. So if I open a web page, the screen reader is going to read me lots of information that's happening on the web page. Web pages are busy, complex things. There's lots of stuff going on. Visually, they can be very complex, lots of stuff to follow, especially if you're using big magnification. If you've got, a lot of 4 or 5x magnification, that's what you need to see it. You're going to be, trying to figure out everything that's going on a web page can be a little bit tricky, and there's a lot of stuff happening. So having that screen reader kind of read you what's going on and the ability to navigate the web page easily is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop here with Windows D.
Windows D.
And
folder view list view. Fun with type of.
Okay, and I'm going to launch Google Chrome. I'm going to hit G to find Google Chrome.
G. Group classes.g. Google Chrome.
Okay.
5.
So I had another icon called with a G there. That's how you say G. And it went to that one. I hit G again. It went to Google Chrome. Okay. So I'm on Google Chrome. I'm going to push enter to launch it.
Enter. New tab dash Google Chrome.
Okay. Google Chrome.
https://blind.org Google Chrome. Low system resources may affect your audio quality. Try closing some applications to improve performance. Home vertical bar.
Okay.
Home vertical bar Wisconsin Council of the Blind.
Okay, so it told me low system. So Fusion does use a lot of system resources. I will say that Fusion. So if you're running Fusion, it can make your system a little bit slower sometimes. So this is why I say sometimes if you're not using something like Word or something in the background, you probably want to close it because you are running a screen reader and a screen magnifier here sometimes. So this can happen, and this does happen occasionally. So I'm on the web page here. I can read down through the web page with the down arrow key.
List of 2 items. Toggle icon. Toggle font size. List N. Same page. List of 180. List N. 800-783-5213.
Okay, that's listing our phone number.
List N. Donate button. Visited
Our
link.
donate button.
Donate. Visited link. Graphic Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Okay, so that's our logo.
Navigation region. List of 7
Well, there's a
items.
lot of stuff here. If I could read on it, it would take me a long time to go through this web page line by line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate by headings. And headings are major sections of the web page. If the web page author says, hey, this is really important, and this is something you probably want to pay attention to. And visually, those kind of stand out, and they kind of make the eyes drawn to them. So we're using Screener, we're going to say, okay, take me to the different headings on the page and read me the different headings. All I'm going to do with this is I'm going to hit the letter H.
Welcome to Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired, heading level 1.
Okay, so that's a heading level 1 that says welcome to the council. I'm going to hit H again.
Mission, heading level 2.
There's our mission. If I want to read the mission, I can just push down arrow at this point.
To promote the dignity and empowerment of the people in Wisconsin who are blind and visually impaired by providing services, advocating legislation, and educating the general public.
Okay, so I read, so I got to where I wanted to go with the heading command, and then I used the arrow keys to kind of read down from there. I'm going to keep going down with H.
Advocacy, heading level 2 link.
Advocacy.
Education, heading level 2 link.
Education.
Vision services, heading level
Vision
2 link.
services.
Latest news, heading level 2
Here's our
link.
latest news. You want to see some of the latest news that's happening at the council?
Now hiring accounting manager, heading level 3
So
link.
that's our job announcement for our accounting manager.
There's still time to contribute to the White Cane Fund, heading level 3 link.
Okay, so we're still trying to, so that's just kind of taking through the major sections of the web page. If I want to go back to the previous heading and say, oh, I want to read more about that accounting manager, I'm going to do Shift H.
Now hiring accounting manager, heading level 3.
And it takes me back to the previous heading on the web page. So I can move by headings. I can also list all the links on a web page. So sometimes you're just looking for a particular link. Sometimes a web page has a lot of links on it, and you want to find just the link on the web page. You want to just get a link, just a link. For example, I know that this web page, somewhere on this web page, has a link called Staff and Board. So I'm going to do a command called Insert F7. It's going to give me a list of the links on the web page.
Links list dialog. Links list view. Skip to content. 1 of 57.
Okay, so there's 57 links on this web page. So 57 other pages I can visit, or the things I can activate on this web page. And I just want to find the one that's called Staff and Board. So I'm going to hit S.
S. Staff and Board.
Okay.
6 of
If
57.
I hit enter on that, it's going to take me right to that web page. So it's a quickly, easily way of moving through those web pages and finding the information you want and navigating. Now, you say, well, I get to a web page, I don't know what it has on it. Well, when you land on the page, you didn't hear this earlier because Fusion was being a little bit sluggish, but when you land on a page, Fusion's going to tell you, this page has 57 links. This page has, 21 headings. So you can kind of know, hey, there's a bunch of headings on this page. There's a bunch of links on this page. You can also navigate some of the different form fields. So if there's a form field you need to fill out, some information you need to enter on a web page. Maybe you're putting your email address in to sign up for an email list. Maybe you're giving us your first and last name to enter some sort of contest. So those are what's called form fields. And there's ways to navigate to those form fields and enter those form fields and activate them and type information in and move around. So there's lots of different things you can do. And this is kind of all just reading this information to you and speaking this information to you. So I'm going to use one of my other favorite commands here, which is a screen reading command. It says, tell me what time it is. It's basically asking the computer to tell me what time it is.
11:07 a.m.
Okay, so it's 11:07 a.m. So I know that kind of where I'm at in the presentation. And that's just a really quick key. So rather than trying to visually locate that clock that's in the bottom right corner of your screen, you can just hit a command and Fusion will tell you, here's what time it is, and you can get to that information. You can hit it twice and get the date if you need to put the date or do some other different things. So I'm gonna go back to the desktop real quick here.
Windows D. Links list view. Staff list of 2 home vertical bar Wisconsin. Windows D. Folder view list view. Google.
So in addition to hearing speech and magnification, I'm also getting what's called refreshable braille. And refreshable braille is a way of navigating and getting information tactily using a refreshable braille display. So I've got a refreshable braille display, which is a series of pins and raised and lowered from different braille characters. I'll hold it up to the camera here real quick. And so in addition to getting the speech output and the magnification, I'm also getting this information that I'm seeing in refreshable braille. So right now I'm seeing them on the Google Chrome icon. It's the 5th of 35 of 36 icons on the screen. If I'm in a document, I can get that information as well. So refreshable braille, there's a lot to it, and we're going to talk a lot more. We've got a whole session devoted to refreshable braille. I believe that session is on Tuesday, the 17th of August. So if you want to learn more about refreshable braille and how people use refreshable braille and the benefits of refreshable braille, you can come to that session on Tuesday the 17th at 10 o'clock, and we'll give you all sorts of information about, we'll actually hear from someone who uses refreshable braille and her work, and we'll hear from a couple of companies that sell refreshable braille devices as well. So that's something else that's out there. So, there's a lot you can do with screen reading. I know that transition from magnification to actually listening to the computer can be a tricky one because you're so used to accessing the computers visually. You're so used to looking at the screen and doing those kind of things. And you say, well, listening to the computer, why would I want to listen to my computer? So that can be a kind of a tough adjustment. But if you give it a chance, I think sometimes you'll find that you can do things a lot quicker, and you can read information a lot quicker and be more efficient by using some of those different keyboard commands. By listening to what the speech is saying, you can change lots of different aspects of the speech. You can make it very slow if you need to.
Slower, 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 slower. FS Reader.
Yeah, that's what we call kind of just, maybe he's had one too many beverages.
Faster. Firefox. FS Reader.
So we can change these different voices. We can change the pitch. We can also control how much it's saying. You saw earlier with the amount of typing echo. We can also control how much punctuation it's saying. And that's really important as well, because if you're reading through a document, you're reading through a novel, you don't want to hear, she walked over to the wall, period. He said, comma. You don't want to hear that when you're reading a book. That's just too much information. But if you're proofreading something, let's say you're sending your resume, you don't want to hear, you want to hear where there's colons, you want to hear where there's the @ sign of the email addresses. You want to make sure that that's perfect. So you really can change, you can control how much punctuation you're hearing as well. So there's all different things we can change. And like I say, once you get used to it, it can really be a really efficient way of accessing the computer. If you're having a hard time seeing, once you get beyond about 4 or 5x magnification, trying to access that information visually can be a little bit slow sometimes. And the nice part about Fusion is gives you the best of both worlds. Maybe you start off in the morning, you're reading your email visually, and you're working on some documents visually, and you're doing some website stuff. And you get to the end of the day, and someone sends you a long email, and you need to access that email and reply to that email. And you say, oh, well, my eyes are tired, my eyes are fatigued, I've been using them all day. I just want to listen now. So you can use some of the screen reading functions and listen to the computer and send that email and make sure you've got things right. You can do some of that with the speech features of ZoomText. ZoomText Fusion and JAWS give you a lot more speech, a lot more information. So if you really want to just totally rely on just your ears and sound, you're going to do that with just using speech. So with that, I would think we'll pause and see if we have any questions. I should give you the prices of ZoomText Fusion as well. So Gene mentioned that you can purchase a annual license of ZoomText for $85. You can purchase an annual license of JAWS, so just the screen reading, not this magnification, but just the screen reading for $95. And you can get the annual license of Fusion for $165 a year. So what that entitles to, $165, gives you the latest version of the software. You can install it. You can use it for up to 1 year. And then at the end of the 1 year, you renew your license. You can use it for another 1 year. So $165 a year gives you the screen reading and the screen magnification. And when you install it, you get the JAWS icon on your desktop. You get the ZoomText icon on your desktop. And you also get the Fusion icon on your desktop. So you can use all three. If you want to use just magnification or just speech or both, which would be Fusion, you can use that as well.
And Jim, can you put it on more than one computer?
Yes, you can put it on up to 3 computers. If you have a laptop at home and a desktop, you can install it on up to 3 different computers. Okay, any questions or comments?
I was also gonna just mention, for you to mention your remote abilities for training.
Yes, so we talked about it a little bit earlier, but yes, when we do training can either be done at the council, in-person appointments, or we can do remote training as well. So even if you're in northern Wisconsin, somebody mentioned they were in Spooner, we can connect your computer remotely using the tools that are actually built into Zoom Text Fusion and JAWS, and we can actually work with your computer remotely, and we hear what you're hearing. We can help you set things up, help you configure things, and help you learn it remotely. So even if you're not close to Madison or Milwaukee, you want some of this different training, we do it over phone call, and then we use something called Tandem, which is a piece of software that's built into Zoom Text and JAWS and Fusion that helps us control your computer and work with your computer and set things up. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely contact us and we can help you work with your computer. Even if you can't come to Madison, we can help you out. I've got a client right now who's up in northern Wisconsin. I've never actually met in person, but we talk every week on the phone, and he's been learning to use JAWS, and he's now browsing the web and finding things on YouTube and doing some other different things. Okay, I'll give it back to you, Gene. Thanks a lot.
If there are no other questions, we will wrap it up, but feel free to email Jim or myself if you have questions that you think about later. My thanks to Jim for sharing all good information about screen readers. Our next Low Vision Fair presentation is next Tuesday, August 10th, and the topic is going to be wearables. And the presenters will be Corey Ballard and Luke Scriven from Vision Forward. So thanks to all of you for spending some time this morning with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.